Hey, welcome to the Green Turtle. This is Coach Billy Hahn. We've done this every Wednesday night during the basketball season. And I want to thank the Green Turtle for sponsoring this show every Wednesday night. Also want to thank the Dominion Post, who has also been a big sponsor of this. Put all my advertising in the Dominion Post for every show on Wednesday night. And you can see this on their website tomorrow, dominionpost.com. Anytime after 5 o'clock tomorrow, you'll be able to see this show. Tonight, I brought back my son, Matt Hahn. Matt has been a former coach at 4 different universities. He was a college coach and was a smart enough guy to get out of the business because you don't get any weekends off, and it's a very high stressful job. So now he's got a little bit less stressful job. He works at West Virginia Junior College, and he gets Saturdays and Sundays off, which you never get as a coach. So he's doing good. Matt, I appreciate you coming up. Thanks for coming back.
No problem. It's been a real pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
Let's talk about this crazy NCAA tournament that we've been watching up until the Sweet 16, which starts tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. But leading up until right now, down to 16 teams, it has absolutely been crazy. Matter of fact, I don't think I can recall the 40 years of coaching that I've been coaching as an assistant coach and as a head coach twice. I don't think I can ever recall how crazy. There's always been upsets in the NCAA tournament, always, but nothing like this year. I mean, this is nuts. What do you think?
It's certainly been one of the more entertaining tournaments that I can recall. There have always been upsets, and if you actually go back and run the numbers, it's not that far off from past NCAA tournaments.
Really?
But I think it's been completely magnified this year thanks to our guys at UMBC.
Yes.
Because we've never had a 16 defeat a 1. And that small college vibe, that kind of just cycles. You get Loyola, get a couple teams like that winning, and the way they're winning makes it very entertaining, very exciting.
Well, history was made when UMBC beat the #1 seed in Virginia. History was made, never been done before in the tournament. So that was unbelievable to see. And then they come back and they gave Kansas State everything. They gave Kansas State a pretty good run now. It was unbelievable.
There's something to be said with being able to play the game free and loose and no pressure and no expectations.
Good point.
What did they have to lose? Nothing. Whereas Kansas State at that point says, we better win this game. We got a pathway to get to the Sweet 16.
Right.
Big 12's the best conference this year. And so I was happy Kansas State was able to hold on.
Right. Well, last week we sat here, and being the geniuses that you and I are, we filled out a bracket. You filled out your bracket. I filled out my bracket, and the audience that we had last week, filled out we gave out brackets, and we filled out the brackets together. Well, I can tell you this, my South bracket was completely blown up. Let's go region by region. My South bracket, I had Virginia and Arizona and Tennessee and Cincinnati. And guess what? There's not a damn team left in that bracket for Coach Hahn. So that bracket is dead for me. You got anybody left in that bracket?
Yeah, the team I picked for the championship game, the Kentucky Wildcats.
You got Kentucky, huh?
And just think about Kentucky now.
Yeah.
The possibility of going to a Final Four, they would have had to beat Davidson.
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Davidson, Buffalo, go ahead.
Kansas State,
Which they got next, right?
and then the winner of Loyola, Nevada.
Loyola, Chicago, Nevada.
So
I think the Wildcats got a pretty good.
So I think what the strategy is, when the bracket's revealed, you should complain about your draw.
Yeah.
Because Cal complained. He said he was in by far the toughest region, and the next thing you know, Virginia gone, Arizona gone, Tennessee gone,
Cincinnati gone.
Correct.
Wow. All right, let's go to the West bracket. The West bracket, I have picked Gonzaga to go to the championship game and get to the Final Four. And Gonzaga is still alive. Gonzaga plays tomorrow night.
They play Texas A&M.
Tomorrow night against Texas A&M.
I believe so.
That's in Los Angeles.
Correct.
Yeah, so I got Gonzaga beating Texas A&M.
I'm lying to you. They play Florida State.
They play Florida State, my bad.
Yes.
I think that's even easier than Texas A&M, to be honest with you. I think Gonzaga beats Florida State. I think Gonzaga gets to the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, I had Carolina coming out of that bracket.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest surprises to me with the NCAA tournament so far hasn't just been the upsets. It's been how teams have gotten hammered. Texas A&M annihilated North Carolina. It was shocking. Some of the other scores, the way Clemson beat Auburn and hammered that team. So some of the disparities in the scores, besides the upsets, has also really caught my attention.
All right, let's go to Midwest bracket. I'll give you there.
Oh, I have the bottom half of the bracket correct because I had Syracuse and Duke advancing. I screwed up top. I thought Seton Hall had a chance to beat Kansas, and that was a pretty close game for a while. And then my dark horse of Charleston hit the skids real early and lost to Auburn, although it was a very close game and they had a chance there at the end. The officials missed a call where a guy was clearly fouled on a three-point shot. That being said, with that bottom half, I think the entertaining matchup there is Syracuse and Duke. And why is that? Well, we all know Syracuse is famous for the vaunted 2-3 zone defense where they lift the wings. And guess what Duke's playing this year?
Playing 2-3 zone.
Same 2-3 zone. When we were coming up and, historically Duke's always played man-to-man and been real aggressive and overplayed wings. And now after Krzyzewski's spent the last couple summers with Boeheim working Team USA, he's playing the same zone that Boeheim's played forever.
Who do you get to pick in that one?
Well, they're both playing zone and Duke has the better shooters, so I'm going to go with Duke. They just have more dudes and they also have some size. I think they can play a little bit over top of the zone, which most teams can't do against Syracuse.
I think Duke's a better team as well. All right, let's go to the bracket that everybody had the Mountaineers in. How about that? Yeah. How about this, Matt? They fly West Virginia and they fly Marshall from the state of West Virginia all the way to San Diego, California. And Marshall does their job by beating Wichita State. And we do our job by beating Murray State. So what happens? Marshall and WVU play in San Diego, California. A game that should be played in the state of West Virginia. We now are playing in California. And to be honest with you, we proved to everybody why Bob Huggins doesn't want to waste our time playing the Thundering Herd. But you know what? If Marshall could just win their conference one year, maybe they can ask us to play them a little bit. But there's nothing in it for us whatsoever. We have nothing in that for us to play Marshall on a regular basis because it does nothing for us. It does everything for Marshall by them upsetting West Virginia. So guess what? I heard
Somebody once told me it don't hurt to ask, so
Yeah,
can't blame them for asking.
Yeah, well, I love Jim Justice out there, our lovely governor of the state, with his half blue, what do you have, a half blue and a half green blazer on?
Yes.
So he was trying to be, but he graduated from Marshall.
Correct.
He's a Marshall grad, right?
Right.
Well, anyway, I had somebody the night of the game said, I sort of feel sorry for Marshall. And I said, how can you feel sorry for those guys? I hope we beat them by 60. And damn, we almost beat them by 30.
Pounded them pretty good.
I'll tell you what.
You know,
that was a great victory for the Mountaineers.
I pay attention to that kind of stuff when they start discussing players.
Yeah.
And I really love players. Like, I'll watch an off-base team at an odd hour just because I heard a guy can really play. And they were really hyped up the Elmore kid.
Wow.
And I tell you what, he's a very good player. He's a West Virginia kid. He can shoot it. He's got great feel. He can pass. But it just really showed you how good Javon Carter is. He's been dominant, absolutely dominant the first 2 games of this NCAA tournament.
Javon Carter. Anybody doesn't think that guy belongs on an NBA roster, I'll argue with you forever. Because that guy, being on somebody's NBA team, makes that team better in this kind of way. First of all, he's not going to give you any problems whatsoever off the floor. He will come to practice, every practice, and practice his tail off for that NBA team. Third thing, he is a great guy to have in the locker room, and he will always be a team player. You tell me somebody can't find a roster spot in the NBA for that guy, I said, you're crazy if you don't put Javon Carter on your roster.
What about the fact that he has a skill that can't really be taught, something that's instinctive? The NBA is a specialty game. Guys stick in that league because they can make quarter threes. Guys stick in that league because they can make plays for other people. Javon Carter can defend at any level. So if he's a guy that, even if he's your start of the end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter guy, he's playing, 12 minutes a game, he can impact the game with his defense. And the guy's constantly improving. He's also an open shot maker now. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's going to have a long career, especially if he gets a chance for the right team.
I'm not saying he should be a lottery pick. I'm not even saying maybe he's not a first round pick. But I do know this. The guy's good enough to play in the league. Somebody should look at him in the second round or whatever. But Javon Carter, I want that guy on my team.
You know what? In my mind, it's going to probably happen where somebody that really values winning has him on the rosters. Like you watch, he'll wind up with like the San Antonio Spurs or somebody that takes under the radar guys that really understand how to play and how to win and value character, things of that nature.
Well, let's talk about the Sweet 16. Let's start with the South region first and the 4 teams that are left in the South. And let's talk about the 2 games, Matt.
All right, well, I got the Wildcats in the first game. Kansas State versus Kentucky.
All right. I will definitely take Kentucky as well.
They're both Wildcats, aren't they?
Oh, the Wildcats can't lose that game.
Correct.
Because they're both Wildcats. That went right over my blonde hair.
Yeah, that's blonde, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you got the Wildcats, huh?
Yeah, except I got the blue Wildcats.
You got the blue Wildcats. You don't have the purple Wildcats, huh?
Hey, I think the purple Wildcats are tough. I think Bruce Weber's done a pretty good job this year. They really defend, they rebound. They've missed Wade. I heard they're going to get him back for this game.
I've heard that. I heard he's back.
But at this time of year, Kentucky has pros. And one guy, Gilchrist Alexander, their point guard, has really elevated his level. And this NCAA tournament's become a showcase for him. You know, everybody talked about Trae Young and all these folks. And even on his own team, you know, Alexander was overshadowed by Knox early on.
Right.
Now that Kentucky has a point guard that's playing like an NBA draft lottery pick to go along with Knox, who's as versatile scorer as there is in the NCAA tournament. So I think they have too much offensive firepower and athleticism.
I will follow your suit on that. I will definitely take the Kentucky Blue over the Wildcats from Kansas State. What's the other game in that bracket?
The other game is another interesting subplot. You got Loyola of Chicago in the Catholic Crew against the Nevada Wolfpack in what some would view as a renegade second chance U type of team.
Right.
Nevada's built on a roster full of transfers.
Right.
And so, you know, the way these two teams have gotten to where they are is remarkable. Loyola, they've won with great late game execution where they've hit buzzer beaters to advance in both games.
Right.
Nevada in both their games had to overcome insurmountable deficits and dig and claw their way back. And I think they were down 22 points to Cincinnati in the second half and scrapped back to win in overtime. So, I mean, both teams are hot. I really think it's a pick'em game. In my opinion, I got to go with Sister Jean because she's got God on her side.
Well, I can tell you this. Being the good Catholic that I am.
Somebody's laughing at you.
A lot of people started laughing on that one. But being the good Catholic that I am, you can't go against the sisters. You can't go against them because I talk about the basketball gods. There's a basketball gods in college basketball. And I always talk to our players about the basketball gods. And just so everybody understands, if you don't think there's the basketball gods in our business, you're wrong because, you know, every school that was mentioned in the FBI probe, the names of every school that were mentioned in the FBI probe, do you understand that the basketball gods took care of those schools? They're all out of the tournament. There's not one team left that the basketball gods didn't take care of. Somebody says, Coach, how about Syracuse? I said, Syracuse's name was not mentioned in the probe. That name was never mentioned. So, only the names of the schools that were mentioned in the FBI probe, they're all gone because the basketball gods took care of them. And I'm going to give a hand for that because WVU and Bob Huggins, basketball gods will take care of him because we do things the right way. Never cheated, never did anything wrong. As long as I was here with Hugs for 10 years. And now that I'm gone, I know they're continuing to do the same thing. So the basketball gods will take care of us as well. So with that in mind, I'll take Loyola.
All right. So that sets up a matchup then between Kentucky and Loyola.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's out of God's hands.
Guess what? I love you, sister, and I'm a good Catholic, but I'm with you, man. Loyola, yeah, I tell you what, go say a few more Hail Marys on that game.
Yes.
They ain't beating the Kentucky Blue.
No, so, I mean, anything can happen. We've seen it already, but I think Kentucky's a safe bet as any to advance to the Final Four at this point.
Yeah, I take Kentucky all the way myself. All right, let's go to the West region.
In the West region, okay, the first matchup, Florida State and the Seminoles versus Gonzaga.
Florida State versus Gonzaga.
Right.
Go ahead.
I think it'll be a really tough game. I got the Zags coming out on top. I think they have experience. They've tasted it. They've been there. Obviously, they beat us in the round of 16 last year. They got a veteran point guard in Perkins. They got a freshman by the last name of Norville who's just playing his tail off and making threes. Yeah, he's a pro.
That guy's a pro.
And then they have some size, and you know, they can kind of match up a little bit with Florida State. Florida State, though, is going to throw a ton of athletes at them. They have length. One thing I saw this past weekend was an interview with their head coach, Leonard Hamilton. He said, hey, listen, the best teams don't always win these games. It's just the team that's hot, that's playing well, they can make a few extra plays. And, you know, Florida State's definitely capable, but I think Gonzaga is going to beat them this time.
I will take Gonzaga over Florida State as well. I'm right with you on that. I think Gonzaga is a very well-coached team. I think Mark Few does a great job. I think the experience of them being in the Sweet 16, I think they've been in the Sweet 16 7 out of 8 years now.
Wow.
I saw that stat. So that program, Gonzaga, is a program that is used to winning. And sort of the culture of that program, when you go to Gonzaga as a player, you sort of buy into that whole thing. So I'm taking Gonzaga as well, Matt. What's the other game in that bracket?
Yeah, the other game in that region is Michigan versus Texas A&M.
Michigan and Texas A&M. Go ahead.
So,
what you got?
Man, I tell you what, you know, you want to pick Texas A&M, but the question is, which Texas A&M is going to show up?
Right.
You know, the one that pounded us in Germany, the one that just dismantled North Carolina, or the one that's got 14. How'd they lose these regular season games in the SEC? Clearly, they're dominant physically. They got the edge in athleticism over Michigan. Being a coach, I find that John Beilein's offense is very difficult to prepare for. I think Texas A&M will have a very difficult time guarding that style of play. They're going to bring Texas A&M's big, strong inside guys out to the perimeter. They can't just protect the basket. They got to defend the three. And so at the end of the day, because of style of play, I give the edge to Michigan.
I'm going to disagree with you on this, Dick. I'm taking Texas A&M for all the reasons that you said they can't beat Michigan with because of those reasons. They have better athletes than Michigan. They got way better players than Michigan. They have more pros on their team than Michigan. The only thing is I give Beeline the edge on coaching those two teams. You know, I think Beeline's a little bit better coach. But I think in this game, the team, Texas A&M, that absolutely blew out North Carolina. I mean, they just didn't beat North Carolina. They smacked them, right? They smacked them.
They did.
I continue to think Texas A&M will stay on that roll, and I will take Texas A&M over Michigan. So who are you taking, Gonzaga over Michigan?
I'm going to take the Zags to advance to the Final Four.
So am I. I said before, when I filled out my bracket, I got Gonzaga going all the way to the championship game. And I got Gonzaga going to the championship game against the Mountaineers of West Virginia. Because I said that WVU and Gonzaga will have a rematch from last year when Gonzaga beat us in the Sweet 16. And I'm sticking with my picks. I think it's going to happen. So I'll take Gonzaga all the way. In the West bracket, so the South bracket you had who?
South I had Kentucky.
Kentucky and Gonzaga. You're taking Kentucky.
I'm taking Kentucky because I took them originally.
I know that.
And I think they are getting really high-level point guard play. I think they have long athletes. I think they can score inside and out, even though they haven't shot the three ball very well. As a matter of fact, they didn't even make a three in their first tournament game. I still think they have more players.
All right, well,
they got a lot of dudes.
You take Kentucky, and I'll take Gonzaga. So one of us is going to be right.
Unless neither one of those teams gets
They're not going to, no. It's either going to be Gonzaga or Kentucky. And I'm going to get back to my point again. When it comes up to being in the championship game, when we get to that, I'll bring it up. So let's go to the Midwest bracket. Talk about that bracket.
All right, so you got a matchup in that bracket of the Rock Chalk Kansas Jayhawks against Clemson.
Clemson and Kansas. Go ahead.
Clemson has really been like a surprise team of the tournament for me. I've been really impressed with how they've played. They've really had a breeze to get to the Sweet 16. They've never been challenged. Well, Kansas will challenge them.
Right.
I think guard play really wins this time of year. And we know Kansas has spectacular guards who can all make shots and make plays. And, I think Clemson's run, even though they've had a phenomenal season, ends against Kansas.
So you're taking Kansas?
I am taking Kansas.
All right. I am going to take Kansas as well over Clemson. I'm going to take Kansas as well. Who do you got in the other game?
The other game is, again, we already talked about it briefly, but you have Syracuse against Duke.
Yeah.
So a matchup of two Hall of Fame coaches, a matchup of two teams playing 2-3 zone.
Right.
The only difference is personnel.
And
Duke has five.
Duke has way better
players.
Way better players than Syracuse.
They have size. They have athleticism. They have a great shooter, built-in zone buster, in Gary Trent. He's an excellent two guard. They still have the kid Grayson Allen that can make threes. And, one thing of playing against zone is you got an offensive rebound.
Yeah.
And Michigan State, who lost to Syracuse, was still right there despite shooting, like 17% from three because they got so many offensive rebounds. And Duke has Bagley and the kid Wendell Carter, who are both lottery picks, and they're just going to be all over the glass.
So I agree with you. I got Duke as well. So now you got Duke versus Kansas.
And what a great thing for CBS and the NCAA to get the Blue Bloods there.
Yeah.
But in that matchup, I like Duke as well, and for the same reason. I think Graham is a heck of a player for Kansas. I think Duke has players on the perimeter that can, even out the guard play angle. And I think, although Azubuike's a monster and a presence inside, he has to deal with those two big jokers from Duke. So I'll go with the better players again.
I will take Duke in that game as well. I think Duke will get Kansas, as you said. And Duke will be in the Final Four. So let's go to the the East bracket.
The only bracket that stayed true to form.
That's the only bracket that stayed true to form, is right.
WVU's a 5, so yeah. Wichita State lost, but
right.
Pretty much
the
best 4 teams in the region are still there.
So you're saying the selection committee got one regional right?
They got one region right.
Well, that's about par for that damn committee.
What they didn't get right was making WVU play not only 3,000 miles away, but then having them play the 9:40 last game on a Sunday night to travel back to a snowstorm to play in Boston. But other than that, the seating.
The committee is very smart. The NCAA committee, they are really smart people. God bless them. They're the dumbest people ever. They are stupid. And that's why we're going to win next game, to stick it right in the committees where the sun doesn't shine.
All right.
How about that?
So you got the West Virginia Mountaineers over Villanova.
I got the West Virginia Mountaineers over the Villanova Wildcats.
I hope you're right.
Well, I know you don't.
I do.
Oh, you do?
I
You changed your tune then.
No, I had that originally.
Oh, you did?
I did.
All right.
And the reason being is I like where WVU's mindset is right now. First of all, what do they have to lose? They can play loose. Every swinging media member in America's got Villanova.
Everybody's got Villanova.
And you know, I just know the mentality of Mountaineers is when they get slept on, that's when they're really dangerous. They feel disrespected. They have something to prove. It's really going to be a game that I can't wait to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be a heck of a matchup. I imagine they'll be back and forth. Don't get me wrong, Villanova's tremendous. Their style play is not necessarily conducive to what we want to do because they have 5 guys in the game that can make threes and really shoot the basketball. You know, they have NBA players too. Their point guard's phenomenal. Javon Carter bothers everybody. It's going to be very hard for JC to bother him. He's kind of like a robot. He shows very little emotional. It's very hard to speed Brunson up. Mikal Bridges can really shoot the ball. He's a great athlete. He's a big-time NBA wing prospect.
You're taking WVU.
But
you're saying all these things about Villanova, but you're still taking
But I'm still taking WVU.
Yeah, well.
I'm still taking WVU because I think WVU is going to grind and do the tough things. I think they're going to pound them on the offensive glass. I think we can score inside, and I think we can make it difficult enough for them that they miss enough shots that we're right there at the end and can win a close game.
I went to breakfast Tuesday morning, and I wrote 5 things down on a piece of paper. Because after breakfast on Tuesday morning, I went from breakfast right to the practice facility, and the Mountaineers started practice at 9:30 on Tuesday morning. After returning from San Diego on Monday night and getting back to Morgantown at 7 o'clock at night.
Now they got in at 7 a.m. on Monday, didn't they?
No, that is completely wrong.
Oh, yeah?
They got back at 7 p.m. to Morgantown, West Virginia. See, you can't believe all that media stuff you read out there. Because they think they know, but they don't know. It was 7 p.m.
Okay.
They turn around, come into practice at 9:30. They watched 35 minutes of Villanova tape. They came out and started stretching at 10:05 a.m. Tuesday morning. And when Coach Huggins came out, I gave him the 5 things that I wrote on a piece of paper at breakfast about Villanova. So he comes out, he says, Billy, I know you've seen Villanova a lot. I said, yes, I have. He says, what do you think? I handed him that piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, Matt, these are the things I had down. Do not leave your feet on shot fakes because every player for Villanova catches the ball, squares up like a robot, and shot fakes. Everyone watch the game. So don't leave your feet on shot fakes. Number 2, I told him we have to crash the offensive glass. That was my second thing. Crash the offensive glass. The third thing I had down here, I said, make them take and make tough shots from the 2-point land, not the 3-point land.
So when you're talking about that, we all know Villanova likes to dribble drive the basketball and kick for threes.
I told Hugs.
You can't leave shooters. You got to make them shoot the tough 2.
Exactly.
Blanket shooters, no help responsibility.
That's what I told Hugs. I said, Hugs, I don't know if he'll do it. I said, Hugs, you can't leave the 3-point shooters. If somebody penetrates and beats somebody on a penetration, then let them score the 2 points. Because 2 points is not as many as 3. So hug your shooters. Next thing I put down on the list, make them take tough shots without fouling. Because if you foul Villanova, and you let Villanova get to the free throw line, you will not win the game. Because Villanova shoots foul shots like incredible. And it's part of their game plan. Every game that they play, they have made more free throws this year than their opponents attempted. They have made more free throws than their opponents have attempted. So you can't let them get to the line. And then the last thing I put down is that we have to take the ball to the rim on them. I think Villanova has a tough time guarding straight line drives.
Well, I think we should definitely try to get the ball to the basket, and it's twofold. Villanova doesn't play very many guys.
Right.
The guys that they do play do not want to foul.
Right.
So I think you're going to have uncontested opportunities at the rim, and you got to take your time and finish them.
Right.
Because Spellman and Pascal, those are really the only 2 guys they play with legitimate size, and they don't want to foul.
I'll tell you what, Spellman's a little bit better than I thought he was.
Oh, he's terrific.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
He shoots it.
Brunson's a pro. He's pretty dang good. But I tell you what, I love the Mountaineers over Villanova. And Matt, you hit it right on the head. Bob Huggins and WVU are at our best when we're playing with a chip on our shoulder. And don't think that Coach Huggins and our video coordinator, James Long, hasn't put together a videotape of all the talking heads out there and all the people out there saying that we don't have a chance because nobody thinks we're going to win. You look at the media. Look at everybody saying. The bookies in Vegas are favoring Villanova by 5.5. Everybody thinks Villanova's going to win. So Huggy Bear, we'll use that with our players. Nobody respects us. They are disrespecting us. He will show them a tape of everything, of everybody talking, and he will have our guys ready to play. I was with the guy for 10 years. He's a genius at making our kids understand all the odds against us.
Let's not forget this. There will not be 1 ounce of trepidation or fear in the Mountaineers. They are battle-tested. Out of all the teams left in the tournament, they played the 2nd hardest schedule behind only Kansas when you evaluate straight the schedule. Villanova is the only team left from the Big East Conference. This isn't the Big East Conference that you and I know.
Right.
Okay? So I don't know who's really come out and smacked them at Villanova in the face. I don't know if that's happened to them yet this year. And I'd like to see how they respond. I really like WVU's chances here.
All right, so the Final Four that you have and I have,
we skipped the other game here.
What was the other game?
Texas Tech and Purdue.
Well, we don't really give a damn about that.
Yeah.
Because we already got the Mountaineers going all the way. But we'll talk about that for a second.
Well,
I like Texas Tech.
You like Texas Tech. I love Purdue prior to the tournament, but that's when they had the big giant.
Giant got hurt.
7-2, he broke his elbow, he's out.
Yep.
Totally changes the complexity of the game. So, being a man of principle, I won't change my pick because I'll stick with Purdue.
Go ahead.
But I really like Texas Tech's chances because too many athletes, too many players, too many shot makers.
I'm going to brag on myself a little bit. if the audience will let me do it. And if you don't let me do it, I don't care. I'm going to tell you anyway. Villanova, I had a chance. Jay Wright brought me in October to speak to his team and to speak to his coaching staff when I was on my motivational speaking engagement in the fall. That's one team that's left. Chris Beard at Texas Tech University flew me to Lubbock, Texas, and I spent a full day with Texas Tech's basketball team and coaching staff. Had breakfast, lunch, a 3-hour practice, and a Halloween haunted house dinner experience with Texas Tech's basketball team. I got up the next morning on Saturday. Matter of fact, what's crazy, I was in Lubbock, Texas, at Texas Tech University the same Saturday. Texas Tech University's football team was here in Morgantown. It was crazy. So anyway, I got Texas Tech, Villanova, and the Mountaineers. So all in the final, the Sweet 16. 3 of the teams that I spoke to, 3 of the teams that I've been associated with.
So let me understand.
So I've taken Texas Tech.
You're taking credit for having 3 teams in the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I am.
You're the hoops whisperer?
No,
you got out of coaching, now you just blow in coaches' ears and players.
I smoked a lot of weed this weekend. I'm still high. But anyway, that's my reason I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
But I love Texas Tech, but I'm sorry. I'm going to take Texas Tech, all right?
All right. So
my Final Four is West Virginia, Texas Tech, Gonzaga, and...
So hold on. So you're taking West Virginia, I'm assuming, then over Texas Tech. You're
Absolutely.
taking West Virginia into the Final Four.
I'm taking West Virginia over Texas Tech.
Okay. I like that. I'm not going to speak on that game because I had Purdue, and it was a reverse psychology thing because I just want the Mountaineers to win, so we won't discuss it. So now we got a Final Four. You got West Virginia against Duke, is that correct?
Duke beat who?
Duke just beat Kansas to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, I got the Mountaineers beat Duke.
So you got the Mountaineers over Duke, and you have...
No. I got Gonzaga.
You got...
Where'd they go?
They're over on the other side.
I know, well, that's who I got.
You got Gonzaga against WVU.
I got WVU versus Gonzaga in the national championship game.
Okay.
So Gonzaga had to beat who?
Gonzaga would have to beat Kentucky.
Kentucky?
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm going to take.
Okay. So now we got it.
Yeah. So my Final Four, or my championship game, is Gonzaga versus WVU.
All
and
right.
the reason I'm taking WVU to win it all, it is another revenge game. Another game that we play with a chip on our shoulders, because if you recall, Gonzaga was the team that sent us home last year. That will not happen 2 years in a row. Gonzaga sent us home from San Jose, California, with an extra kick in the pants from a guy named Jamie Lucky,
So yeah, that's
the referee.
That's one thing that we haven't factored in any of these games
no
yet.
doubt about that.
Because the wild card is an hour before the game when you get on Twitter and you get to take a sneak peek at who's officiating the game, because that changes absolutely everything.
All my picks are off with WVU. If we get John Higgins or Jamie Lucky on one of our games, we lose. I'm going to tell you right now. So fans, if you want something to see, a key to WVU's success in the Sweet 16 is this. If you see the referee crew, and you see either John Higgins' name or a name Jamie Lucky on our game, Mountaineers ain't winning. Just tell you.
No coincidence that two of those guys were on the Kansas game at Kansas where there was 34-2 free throw discrepancy, right? Both of them were on that game?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yes.
A third guy I think you need to add to that mix is a guy named Kip Kissinger, but hopefully the NCAA is smart enough to know that he's not worthy of reffing a 16 game.
If Kip Kissinger is in the Sweet 16, then we've got a big problem.
Maybe they'll throw him a bone and let him keep the book or something.
No, they're going to
be an alternate.
They're going to throw, you know what they're going to throw him a bone? He's going to referee in the NIT.
Okay, we'll keep him in the NIT.
Yeah, we'll keep him in the NIT.
How do guys like Jamie Lucky and Higgins get all those games? They're at a point now where those guys have reputations and people think they're these great officials, but so many fan bases across the country have major problems with them. It's not just WVU. Kentucky hates Higgins.
Yep.
Jamie Lucky's notorious in the entire ACC conference of being no good. How do they keep getting games? How's that work?
I'm going to tell you how it works. The supervisor of officials is a guy named, I got a mental block right now, of the entire organization is a guy named...
I'm going to Google it.
He's from Ohio, and he used to ref in the Mid-American Conference when I coached at Ohio University. He's now the commissioner of the entire referees group. I can't think of his name right now. I can see his face. You got it yet?
I'm looking.
As soon as you say it, I will know it. I can see his face, and it might come to me in a second. But I can't think of it. Anyway.
It's not Mike Sanzanier, is it?
No, not Mike Sanzanier.
No, I didn't think so. I'm just trying to think of
no. But anyway, I'm going to tell you what happened.
They protect him, obviously, because I'm having a tough time finding him on the internet.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you why. John Higgins, Jamie Lucky continue to get games.
Is his name John Adams?
His name is not John Adams. John Adams was retired and replaced by this new dude right now.
J.D. Collins?
Who?
J.D. Collins?
J.D. Collins. That is the guy, I think. J.D. Collins. That doesn't ring a bell, though. That doesn't ring. It is J.D. Collins. So anyway, J.D. Collins is the #1 guy that oversees all the NCAA referees. J.D. Collins happens to be really, really good friends with two guys. J.D. Collins refereed forever. J.D. Collins, along with John Higgins and Jamie Lucky, they run referees camps in the summertime. They're making money running referees camps. J.D. Collins, Jamie Lucky, and John Higgins are all big-time friends.
They're all in bed together, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know if they're all in bed together, but it's damn close, I know that.
Okay. So I'm curious, because we finished up our bracket here,
Yeah.
and we're feeling WVU.
Well, let's just, I got WVU as national champion. And that's not because, I'm not doing that just because I'm on this Green Turtle show. And it's not just because I was an assistant at WVU for the last 10 years. It's because I believe in Bob Huggins. I believe in WVU. I believe everything we stand for. And I think the basketball gods, which I've talked about before, the basketball gods will watch out for us. That with all the stuff that we've been through, the basketball gods will be on our side.
No Jamie Lucky, no John Higgins.
Yeah, really. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right.
JC, Jesus Christ.
What did you say there?
Better than the Catholic boy, JC,
Yeah, I believe in JC. There you go. Good initials.
Only my wife could come up with that. All right. We got a few minutes left in the show. I want to talk a little bit about the travel that we did to Boston. So, our guys practiced, Tuesday morning because of the snowstorm.
Hold on, let me get the timeline right. So they play Sunday night on the West Coast, late game, 9:40 p.m. tip. It was a little bit later than that. After that game, they stayed overnight in California.
Correct.
So they spent the night after the game in California. And then they flew back the next day and got back to West Virginia at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. They arrive at 7 p.m. I imagine what's Hugs tell them to do? Go home, rest up, and then they practice the following morning at, you said 9:30.
They watched film for 35 minutes.
Okay.
10:05 they came out, started stretching. They had practice. They got on a plane from Clarksburg to Boston. They changed plans. They wanted to beat the snowstorm.
And I hear they're getting hammered up and down the East Coast.
But they got there in time before the snow hit. They went to Boston Celtics, played Oklahoma City Thunder last night.
Cool.
So the team went to the Celtics game.
Are the NCAA games in the Garden? The TD Bank Garden?
Yes, that's where they're playing. We're playing, the arena we play in Boston is the same arena that the Celtics play at. So last night, they were at the Celtics Oklahoma City Thunder game. Today, they slept in and they got up and had a breakfast buffet and had film. Then they went to Northeastern University in Boston and they practiced at Northeastern from noon to 3. They were done at 3 o'clock. I would guess that they went back. I would guess they probably took them out to some nice restaurant near their hotel for a good night's meal. That's tonight. And then tomorrow is a big, busy day for all the teams, the 4 teams that are in Boston. On the day before, you play on Friday, we play on Friday. The day before, you have to go, you have an hour, each team has an hour, 1 hour practice at the arena that we play in.
Open to the public.
Open to the public, that's correct. So open to the public, and each team is one after the other, after the other, after the other. So there's 4 teams in a row, open to the public, and each team comes out and practices or does whatever they want to do, shoot around or whatever for an hour. I don't know what time we have, but if, for example, if let's say we go at 1 o'clock, well,
I can tell you from NCAA protocol,
go ahead.
The lowest seed practices earliest.
All right.
So I imagine WVU will be in there some point tomorrow morning.
All right. So Villanova goes first.
No, they would go last.
Villanova goes last. All right, well, I'm just going to give you examples. Say our time tomorrow is at noon. We'll go to shoot around for an hour at the place we play. And then after you're done for an hour, you go back to the locker room that you're assigned to, and you have to give the media 45 minutes and open all the media whores. Come in there. Radio, TV, Twitter, social media, writers, whatever. Come in and they got you for 45 minutes. Coach Huggins has another media session where he's got to go somewhere. And then after that, at 5 o'clock, the NCAA has their meeting with a representative and a head coach from each school that's remaining in that regional. So all 4 head coaches, the basketball operations director, and the sports information director, they will all meet together like at 5 o'clock, and they go over the entire protocol for Friday's games and Sunday's games, including a police escort that escorts every team's bus. You have this police escort. Police escort takes you to the arena. Sirens are going, no traffic. You go right to the arena. You check into the arena. The NCAA, I can't begin to tell everybody here how anal the NCAA is about having things done in a proper way. They won't even let you, let's say you have a bottle of water. If it's not the brand, a bottle of water, if it's not the brand that the NCAA uses, they will not let you take that bottle onto the court. You have to give you an NCAA cup, and you got to pour your water into the NCAA cup.
That's right. I know one year we brought Gatorades, and they made us take all the Gatorades back on the bus, and they supplied us with Powerade.
No doubt about it, because Powerade is the NCAA sponsor.
They run the security for those events. You're not getting in the building without a pass. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's being like in another world. It really is. It's called the NCAA world. And don't think they don't run that thing like crazy.
Hey,
I hate the NCAA.
I saw an article this week that said the NCAA made $1.2 billion last year. And of the $1.2 billion, $781 million was made off the television rights for the NCAA basketball tournament.
781 million.
And projections are up this year to be over 8.
How about that?
100 million.
How about that?
Right.
All right, we don't have any giveaways tonight, huh? Where's my girls at? That bring me my stuff. I don't have my gifts from the Dominion Post. What's going on? All right, here's the deal. We will be back next Wednesday if the Mountaineers are in the Final Four. All right?
So we'll be back.
All
right.
So, if for some crazy reason that we have Jamie Lucky or John Higgins on our game and we are not back, I want to thank everybody for coming to the Green Turtles this year. Courtside with Coach Billy Hahn every Wednesday night's been a pleasure. I can't thank the Green Turtle enough. I can't thank the Dominion Post enough. And you guys that have put on our show on a weekly basis, thank you very, very much for all your effort. Thank you guys. So they promised me, I had a meeting with the Dominion Post and Green Turtle people, and they think the show has been successful this year, and they want me to do it again next year once the season starts. So thank you very much. It's a great day to be alive. Count your blessings. Thank you very much. Love you guys.